Well, let's go to the match. Welcome to round 1 of MTGO Master Season 2, part number 4. Ben Wheeler against Ali Eldrazi. And we have Ali starting here with Steam Vents. Both players kept 7. And there's no Trinisphere. No early Trinisphere at the very least. No turn 2 here. But Eldrazi Temple is a pretty nice one, and a turn 2 Fanatic of Ronas to speed Ben's Eldrazi's up.
Yep. This looks pretty good start for Ali. I'm liking this. He's got the Tune the Narrative, so he's not really worried about the energy. So this Galvanic Discharge can kill one of these bigger Eldrazi's potentially.
Yeah, being on a play here is huge. Getting that Dreadhorde Arcanist down before Ben even deploys anything to the board looks pretty good.
Yeah, so for Ben here, I'm thinking he'll probably go Fanatic, because then next turn he can start casting Eldrazi's with that Eldrazi Temple. That's going to mean that even if this Fanatic does go away, Ben's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, but wow, I'm very surprised that Ali didn't just play the Dreadhorde Arcanist there. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I guess so. Kozilek's Command. I mean, he could have been playing around the Eldrazi Temple into the Kozilek's Command. But I mean,
I wouldn't have
maybe.
done it. Maybe he was playing on Labyrinth plus Trinisphere with the Spell Pierce.
Yeah, I guess he just wanted to have the Spell Pierce up.
And now Ben has some choices here. Okay, not playing the Temple. Interesting. Just going for the Fanatic, I guess.
Yeah, so he just drew the Fanatic. He's probably wants to really get full value out of the cast triggers from the Eldrazi, but this could be a little bit punishing because it gives Ali a good use from the Galvanic Discharge. So say he had gone Temple Ramp, I would have liked that a lot more. I mean, I personally would have gone that line. So both players I think have taken lines that not necessarily intuitive to me, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, playing Sowing Microspawn this turn, getting another Eldrazi Temple.
Because then you can World Breaker next turn, right?
Yeah.
You're already at World Breaker, that way, and you can't be disrupted by a counter or a removal.
Oh, this looks like a really good expressive duration here for Ali. Getting a land into play. Flame of Arno into hand. Keeping up that Spell Pierce or deploying the Symmetry Sage.
Yeah, he's been very much valuing the Spell Pierce, so I'm curious if he will opt to kind of telegraph it. Because when you play the land here on the pathway on blue, and then you kind of pass, it almost says, "Hey, I have the Spell Pierce," but maybe he doesn't mind that.
Yeah, he's paying respect to the Trinisphere and paying respect to, I suppose, Kozilek's command as well with that Spell Pierce. Ah, okay, he's playing the Symmetry Sage. It always feels nice to have wizards in play when you're sitting on a Flame of Arno. I mean, that's just. Remember playtesting for the Pro Tour and just Tamio into Flame of Honor turn 3. Nothing's better than that.
So here we've got a few different options if we're Ben. So we can deploy the Kozilek's Command, the Spell Pierce, the shields. Ali did take the shields down. We could even go Kozilek's Command. Well, yeah, I mean Kozilek's Command make some spawns, kill the flyer. That's pretty good. You can also go for the ramp, but then that's going to mean Ali can deal some serious damage potentially on his turn.
I think his idea here is actually to do 2 spells in 1 turn. and get the temple, and
Okay.
then Kosek's command, which is interesting. I mean,
Yeah, that makes some sense too.
the free doesn't impact the board that much right now. I mean, I
Maybe he
get
goes for a card rather than spawns here. Oh, interesting. So he's going for the Soul Scar instead of the synergy. Definitely forces Ali to make plays on his turn, but I would have probably gone after the flyer. I do think it's close. What do you think, Arne? Flyer or Soulscar Mage there if you're gonna kill something?
so this is not the buff version. Like, I remember last time I played with that card, it was a 0
Oh
free
yeah,
and get
that's
3
that's
plus
a good
3.
point. It's not the buff version because we're thinking of historic. So it doesn't give 3 power, it gives only 2. That's true. Yeah, that
Yeah.
does make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, getting rid of Soska Mage means that your bigger like your 5/7 won't just be reduced by a Flame of Arno into a 2/3, or
Yeah, that's
it
fair. That's
yeah,
very
so
fair.
1 free. Yeah, so I think it's reasonable. 1/2 actually. Yeah, 1/2.
Okay. So here Ben could go for a double spell again, right? Like he could go for the Myco spawn into a 6/6 aberration. I think he's gonna go for that. And now we kind of see the land destruction come into play here because 3 out of the 4 creatures in Ben's deck essentially cast trigger in his hand rather. Their cast triggers get rid of a land. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looks pretty impressive right here. I kind of like what's going on.
I will say, going back to my point, you'd probably rather have a Soul Scar than a synergy, than the symmetry flyer in this exact spot, but it's probably not going to end up mattering because it looks like Ali's got a pretty awkward hand. So these Arcanists that you mentioned deploying on turn 2, now they come down, but unfortunately, this may not be the ideal spot for them.
Yeah, this is just way too late at this point. All right, we have 6 Eldrazi mana plus 4 normal mana. That means 10 Eldrazi mana technically. Could get another Eldrazi Temple with the Sowing Microspawn for 6 mana.
Yeah, we're
And
one
would be
short
1
of
short.
doing one
Yeah.
short. Probably we just see a World Breaker here.
Ooh.
Okay. I actually kind of like this, just kind of making Ali have it and making this a 2-turn clock. It's an interesting line. Um,
Huh.
well, you know what he may do is he may just Myco spawn without getting rid of a land, so he can just play the 3/3 get a land.
Yeah.
And I
Just,
kind of like that now with this line. So then you have 2 creatures out.
yeah, I'm with you. Like with this line, you just want to deploy your hand.
Yeah, yeah,
But do
because
you
next
play?
turn you're just on the aggressive attack and kill plan.
It's interesting. Which of the big creatures, like the Devourer or the World Breaker, which one would you play here?
Yeah, I think it's probably the Devourer. I'm not sure how much it matters. It does look like Ben's going for a different line. So we'll see how this goes. It does mean he's not playing either of those big spells. Oh, but he's got a shifting woodland plan. So what can you copy with that?
Oh, we forgot
Oh.
about the Fanatic in the graveyard. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Okay, so he's going for Fnatic. That makes sense. That makes sense. For a second, I was like, "What's going on?" But no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it turns out similar, I guess. But like, Ben is just squeezing every single value out of the cards he can get. He didn't play any of the Sowing Microspawns for non-kicked, like we would
Yeah,
have maybe done on turn 3. But yeah.
yeah. I mean, Ben is definitely gonna win this game if it goes another couple turns. because he's just got so much gas between the Fanatic, the World Breaker, the Devourer. Like these are such high impact cards. He's got the Shifting Woodland even, potentially. Not that he really needs to activate that. Now,
Let's make
yeah.
some math here. If Slickshot comes down, both Arcanists attack, Galvanic, both blockers gone. That's 5, 6, 8, 12, 14 damage I'm counting.
Wow.
Did I
Wow.
miscount? 5, 6, 8. That is
Galvanic. So Slickshot
yeah.
is a 5 power, right?
You can even make more damage with the Symmetry Sage.
The
This is
Symmetry
like
Sage, yeah.
this is so much damage. This is like 16, 17 or something. Yep, that's Slickshot. Pretty good card.
Yeah. I don't know how much Ben was considering the potential of just losing this turn.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I think the line of going Myco Spawn into Devourer of Destiny, like not kicked Myco Spawn, would have been probably the safest, exiling one of these Arcanists.
Yeah. Yeah, the Arcanists can be pretty scary. And we're seeing them do some yeah, I mean, they're stealing this game essentially.
I must say though, Ali had some outs there. Ali had the Reckless Charge 4 times in his deck, 3/0, could have given the Symmetry Sage in his hand, haste. But it wasn't just the 2 copies of Slickshot here.
Yes, that's true.
I really like this Wizards deck. It's doing some powerful stuff. And it's very interactive. Would be right up my alley. I wish I would have gotten to choose to play with Wizards.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, because I remember Arne and I test together for the Pro Tour, right? So you were working on Wizards a lot, like whether it was Jeskai Wizards or Izzet Wizards. Not necessarily the prowess version of Wizards. I think the Symmetry Sage is more of a card I've seen on Arena just because of the buff but no, like on MTGO, this deck looks really good.
Yeah, and I mean, Seth, you played your part in pushing me off the Jeskai Wizards deck
Yeah.
when you bashed me with your Necro Dominance.
Cameo is one card you could play in this deck. I'm curious. Maybe Ali will talk a little bit about his thoughts on that, but it may not fit his game plan.
Yeah, definitely an interesting choice. All right. Sideboarding, the player's adjusting the sideboard size so we can. Oh, wow, look at that sideboard. We have 4 more land destruction spells in Ben's sideboard. Commitment is there.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tough matchup to really want those land destruction spells. I could see in like a mirror or a slower, like a Tron sort of a matchup wanting those. It looks like was debating about the Thought Knot Seers, ended up going is not going to go with those. It looks like Chalice of the Void can be a really powerful spell with all of the one mana cards in Ali's deck.
Yeah, absolutely. He put those chalices into the deck. Didn't think about that one long, which, yeah, absolutely correct choice here. No 1-drops in Ben's deck. Chalice seems perfect. All right, thanks for the zoom in there. Unlicensed to be against Dreadwood Arcanist. Personally speaking, I think I wouldn't go down that route. But I guess cutting a 6 doesn't hurt too much. Not the best creature in a matchup, perhaps. I didn't really get to see what Ali did there. Probably brought in some artifact hate. I don't know if he had some consigned to memories. Let me take a look at his sideboard again.
All right, so Ben is going to be on the play here, and he does have the Chalice, and he's got 2 Eldrazi. He's got 2 Chalices actually, and he's got a 6. So he's got a little bit of a different type of game plan going on, and yeah, I mean Chalice is going to be really challenging because it's going to cut off a lot of Ali's good draws, like you talked about the Reckless Charge, the Galvanic, all of the stuff with the Dread Horde Arcanist. Look at that. He just found a tune the narrative. So assuming that this chalice comes down right here, I think we're going to a game 3.
Yeah. I believe Ali put in Cast into Fire, and Ali still has the 4 copies of Flame of Honor.
Okay, that's fair.
So
So he's looking to draw one of those cards.
absolutely. Symmetry Sage is a little synergy with the Arcanist, buffing that power up to 2 so you can cast those 2 mana spells that you have in your deck. And also noteworthy, not that you see it right now, but Ali does have a companion. Giganta is hanging out there in case.
Yep, could be relevant. But
Time for the big Wampus.
yeah, it's time for the Wampus. Also, yeah, just 6/6 into 6/6. The Flame of Venor would be really, yeah. That's what Ali really needs here. That's the 4 of. Cast into Fire could be. It's a card for sure, but less likely to find that one. He can Wizard's Lightning, and with the Soulscar Mage, that would put counters onto the Eldrazi to make it permanently smaller. So not like a traditional burn element, but unclear how he wants to approach this. He can burn the tune the narrative for essentially 2 more damage. By casting it, it gets countered, but you still get the prowess trigger. You can recast it off the Dreadhorde Arcanist. But the problem is that if the Arcanist attacks and Ben blocks the Arcanist, then that's not going to work out too well.
Yeah,
I
what you
wonder.
could.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what you do is you play tapped Steam Vents and just pass the turn, and then when Wheeler goes to attacks, you block the Soulscar Mage, and you just fire off both Wizard's Lightning to reduce the size and then tune the narrative. Here he's offering the attack, which turns out to be similar, but at this point, Ben is probably sniffing it out. Well, if Ali stays back, okay, well, Ben goes for the block, and you have the same result, I guess, as I would have done if I would have stayed back.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
If you stay back, it's just less suspicious, and I think there's like almost 100% that the 6/6 is going to attack in that spot.
yeah, I think you're right. But Ali had a read. Ended up being right on the read.
All right, some choices here. We have Wampus, 6, or I suppose a Kozilek's Command. We're just going with the
Looks like he's
6/6.
just going big here. I would have been curious about just playing the 6. We have a land in the graveyard. We could maybe just. That would be like a much longer game plan. Whereas the 6/6, it's going to hit pretty hard, pretty fast.
Yeah, there was definitely a pivotal moment also on the prior turn to play the 6/6 or the 6. The 6/6 or the 6, Jesus. But I suppose Ben was really like looking at these 2 Wampuses and was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go jam," and that looked like a pretty good plan.
Okay, so he is going to go ramping, and Kozilek's Command. Okay. So he is gonna go for a double spell turn here. He's probably thinking about that last game and just getting this Arcanist off the board. He's got the Breaker of Creation for now.
1 mana short to get the Arcanist. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no, you're right. You're right. He was 1 mana short for the Arcanist.
No, yeah, he
No,
took it.
wait, was he? Because he had a land drop to spare. I'm not sure. It's fine.
Well, he drew the land with the command
Oh,
strike.
yep. Okay, yeah. See. Okay.
Missing the opportunity to return Giganta. Ali. Forget about the companions on Magic Online. They're just so hidden.
He may be thinking about his sideboard plans for the next game. We'll see. We'll see. It's not over yet, but
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right.
a couple more attacks here. Breaker of the Creation.
I'm seeing some limited all-stars here. Wampus, Break of Creation. I mean,
Breaker of
wouldn't have.
Creation, yeah, it's kind of a sweet card, especially if you expect aggressive decks, because it, like last game, for instance, if Ben had Breaker of Creation instead of one of those other Eldrazi's in hand, he would have won that game, right? Because he'd be at a lot higher life total.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the double lock here. Shadows on 1, Shadows on 2.
What do you think about the 6 in these Eldrazi decks? I've seen that card in a few different lists. I'm actually playing one in my sideboard of my Elves deck. It's kind of an interesting it's an interesting card. I feel like for modern, it can have a lot of different applications.
Um, it's a type of card that's difficult for me to judge just on face value. I would have to see it in play.
Yeah, Ben is going with the full 4 copies of it, so he's valuing it as his 3-drop of choice.
Oh, we see the Cast into Fire still in the sideboard for Ali.
Now,
Adding some Chandras.
oh yeah, and there's also Brotherhood's End. He could bring in, although I mean it's pretty much just he probably doesn't want to dilute his deck too much toward the artifact destruction. And Ben on the other side is really thinking, all right, do I want these Trinispheres, right? Because if Ali goes too heavy on like Brotherhood's End, then the Trinisphere doesn't look that great. Um Taking out the Tune the Narrative, it looks like Ali is shaving a lot of the stuff. I would have thought Reckless Charge being on the play as a way to just kind of kill your opponent before they're able to set up would be pretty good, but he's got some tough choices to make.
Yeah, I mean he seems to be more leaning towards reducing the amount of one drops instead of adding answers to Trinisphere and Chalice,
Like
which
I don't know if Chandra is his game plan. I don't know if that's because it kind of plays into Ben's hands a little bit, but maybe he thinks he can win that sort of a game.
it is definitely good against Trinisphere and Chalice, but yeah, it doesn't seem great against Wampus, for example.
Yeah. Oof. Okay.
A pretty good hand from Ben here. Chalice turn 2, 6 turn 3, and or Wampus turn 3, whatever you want. But Ali might have to take a mulligan here.
Yeah, so he's
Or
already
land.
on 6. It looks like he's just gonna kind of suck this up, keep, hope to draw a land. If he does, he's got a pretty decent draw with the Dreadhorde Arcanist next turn, followed by an expressive iteration. So he can definitely fight if he finds the land right here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's 6-card hand, tough one.
Yeah. So it's a tough one to go to 5.
Yeah, I mean, he took out a couple of the Tune with narratives, so Tune the Narratives, which is a little bit unfortunate just because that's one of those cards where, like, you're thinking, well, if I don't draw a land, maybe I'll draw a cantrip. But here he did find the land, so it's one turn, not necessarily too late. One turn certainly later than Ali would have liked, but it still arrived. He still gets to play.
Yeah, and he actually, with the Symmetry stage, he can cast 2 expressive iterations next turn, attacking with the Dreadful Arcanist. But the Wampus hits the battlefield, providing a nice blocker to eat the Arcanist, unfortunately, for Ali.
Yeah, he's also got the double Galvanic Discharge potential.
The chalice unfortunately shuts that one off.
Yeah, you're right. Good call. Good call.
Maybe I don't even know. Wizard's Lightning? No, that one costs 3 mana, so you can't flash it back. Reckless Charge? Does that do anything?
Chalice again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Chalice
sure.
is one of those cards where like you're like, oh, see, for me, I think about the outs and then I think about the chalice. I don't know if it's how a lot of people think, but like for me, it's like I'm like, oh, how do I get the Wampus out? And then I realize that there's a chalice in play. But it looks like chalice is doing pretty good work both of these sideboard games. Because again, Ali, I mean, he can play a spell and he may still want to do that. He probably does, right? He wants to. I mean, I guess playing another spell, it's not doing enough. Um, he's just gonna get in there for 2.
Yeah, the chalice is absolutely brutal. I wonder if he maybe was supposed to just buff the Arcanist and suicide it just to get another look at like Flame of Arnor. By flashbacking that expressive duration. I guess he can do that any time. You can just
Yeah. I mean, that's reasonable. He can probably do that next turn.
yeah. Man, 6/6. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's looked very good. Then he got a little bit lucky with this Eldrazi pick because Eldrazi is one of like I mean, after Nadu and Necro and a couple other decks, like Eldrazi's right there in that you know top tier decks, whereas Goblins not as much. Like when you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah,
so
no, I get you.
because Eldrazi, I think out of all the creature types coming out from Modern Horizons 3, it probably got the most tools, and we see that. Ben's utilizing a ton of new cards for Modern Horizons 3. And I like how he's also using cards like Breaker of Creation that aren't necessarily staples in the mainstream Eldrazi lists.
Yeah, like I'm honestly pleasantly surprised by his take on Eldrazi. I haven't really seen something like this, and I think yeah, you usually see stuff like with the Line Breaker or with Null Drifter or things like that. But yeah, this mono
Yeah.
green take with land disruption and just putting 6/6 into play is doing the trick here. Ali down to 2 life after a hit for 12. Flame of Arno has been found. Is it good enough?
Flame of Noir, get rid of Chalice. We've got 2 Arcanists out. We've got a Reckless Charge. We can kill. So what does he do here? This is like math because this is a lot of damage. I feel like he could also draw 2 to try to get a land.
Might have to. He
So
could draw.
this could be lethal right here.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's actually crazy. So he could destroy the Chalice and draw 2. And then
Yeah.
Reckless Discharge an Arcanist. If he draws another land, Reckless Discharge again.
What if he just goes kill 6, kill
Chalice?
Chalice, reckless charge twice. He can do the pumps. That's probably not enough, right? So he probably is gonna go.
That's just 12 damage. Yeah, that's not enough.
Yeah. So he's probably gonna have to get rid of Chalice and draw here. Thinking.
Yeah, he has to draw. I think he has to destroy and draw, and then he can Flame of Arno and draw again. After with the Reckless charged.
Yeah, but he really needs the land right now in his first main phase, right?
Yeah, he has to do it right now.
He could also just get rid of some of these creatures. I mean, he can unlock the discharge. I guess he doesn't have that much energy. He could double discharge, but then you still have the other 6/6 trample to deal with. Trying to think about like more defensive lines he could take.
I mean, that's reasonable.
But I think these extra cards. I mean, because if he hits the land, I think it is lethal, right? Like he can. He can. I don't know. I mean, so you still have to deal with the 6. You can double. You can double reckless charge, and you could just double manic discharge. You could also flame. You can flame Evanor out of the graveyard. So what you
yeah.
could do is you can you're flashing back the flame with one of the dread hordes after
Then
the
flashback 1 charge, and then you have 9 plus 6, so it's 15. It's 1 short. You have 3 charges and 6 damage on the ground.
Are you counting the Symmetry Sage
Yeah.
triggers?
Those add the all creatures will have 2 power plus 9 from the free discharges, so you have 15. So maybe he has to play a defensive role here and go for a kill
Yeah,
even with the
15.
Dawn.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
He's still going for the extra cards and did not get an untapped land. So now it's he could still draw again, like you're saying.
Yes.
He can go for the reckless charge to be able to draw again off the Flame of Anor. And this time I assume he gets rid of a creature. He can probably only attack with the one Arcanist because he's going to need to double chump one of the Wumpuses. But is he going to be able to get rid of everything? I don't know that he can.
So what he could do is he could cast a discharge, maybe on a Wumpus, attack, then expressive iteration, and flashback the discharge. Both of those. Kill the Wumpus.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We're not Flame of Anoring, we're Expressive Iterationing. That makes more
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
But I don't know if he can find anything to deal with the second 6.
But he already used the Reckless Charge, so that's not the line. But I like your line. I hadn't even really considered that.
I think my line doesn't work in the end though, because I don't think there's anything from 1 mana where he can like find it with expressive to deal with a 6/6. He hasn't played a land yet, so he has still the out to an untapped land here with the Flame of Anor. Staying back with Symmetry Sage to absorb the 2 damage from a 6, right? So now he needs to get rid of both the 6/6s though, which
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. But if Ali finds it, I'm just gonna bow my head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I thought like that. I mean, that was the draw that he needed. It was just probably one turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wizard's Lightning. I am curious what would have happened had he found the land immediately. I do think you were right about it only being 15 damage.
Yeah, if he would have found the lands immediately, this game would have been perhaps a win for Ali. Could have been. All right. Yeah. Slick shot, and a Steamance. Oh, Dreadhorde is not going to do it. Then we have the concession. Ben taking it down.